Want to know how to magically make your ceilings look taller? When showing the before and after of our living room, I've actually been asked how we raise the ceiling. Painting the baseboards and the crown the same color as the wall definitely helps draw your eye up, but the main thing that helped in this room was bringing the fireplace all the way up to the ceiling. I first had to update the bottom portion to bring it from traditional to match my modern transitional design style. I did this by wrapping a portion of it in pole wrap and framing it out with screen molding. Then it was time for the real magic, building the top portion to take it all the way up. I had to remove the crown. I cannot recommend this trim puller enough. Then I built a frame using 2x2s and a 1x4 to get the depth that I wanted. I knew I wanted it to come out at least as far as the crown comes out, but I didn't want it to be as deep as the lower portion. At this point in the project, the lower portion looks like a teenager in need of Accutane, and the top portion is a basic frame, but I got so excited because it already draws your eye all the way up to the ceiling and makes it look bigger. Now, to make it look pretty, I had to get a big sheet of plywood, which is always awkward. We had originally planned on putting our TV back above the fireplace, so before adding the plywood, I had to build out what I needed underneath to attach the TV to. The TV ended up being too big, but you still need pieces underneath to attach the plywood to, and if you want to hang art, just something to keep in mind when you're building it. The 4 feet wide plywood sheets were not quite wide enough, so I had to add a couple pieces on either side. I then covered the whole thing with pole wrap to tie it into the bottom portion. The pole wrap adds a modern element, but I still needed a traditional element as well. I did this by using trim along the sides that made it a little bit bulkier to match the chunky mantle. Like the plywood, the pole wrap also comes in a 4-foot width, so adding this trim also got it to the width that I wanted. Wood filler for all the nail holes and caulk for all the seams. Brought everything together and got it ready for paint. Since I'm painting over a variety of wood tones, I knew I needed to prime, and I used my favorite Zinsser Bin primer. I should have used a drop cloth. I had to clean so many splatters off of the floor. I chose the color Sherwin-Williams Elusive Green and used their trim paint to make sure that the fireplace was durable. When I tell you that pole wrap is a pain to paint, I am not exaggerating, especially when you're using trim paint. Since it's so thick, it's settled in between each groove, and I went one by one with a screwdriver to get out the excess paint. I had to do this after the first coat and the second coat, and then I went back for touch-ups with an art brush so that the same thing wouldn't happen again. I decided to add a slightly more detailed piece of trim on each side to bring in more of that traditional element, and then I found the cutest little piece of trim to go along the top to just finish it off and make it look more done. And that was it. You really can't tell that this was the same fireplace. I was originally going to wrap the entire thing in the pole wrap, make it look curved and super modern, but I'm so glad I kept in those traditional elements, and it really does make the room feel so much taller.